Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And
let's play a game together! Yeah!
Alrighty, if you came in from the last episode, we are about to do a premium scene, and if you're here because of the title for the premium scene, we're about to do a premium scene!
Hey! Which means that you won't get to see the premium scene because as per our agreement with Nix Hydra, we're not going to, 1, show their art, or 2, show the words.
Yep.
So we're going to ad-lib the whole thing, so hopefully this will be hilarious. We'll have a good time together.
Additionally, we have a lovely guest artist, Draconisha, who has done some beautiful cover-up art for us.
Yes!
Which we'll get to see after this.
We will!
And so you will get to enjoy that wonderful and adorable picture. Draconisha has been doing chibis for us, and all of their information is down below, so you can totally check out their art. They do wonderful Arcana stuff. And now, how about we keep Asra some company? I'll keep you company.
Yay. It's still the same thing, so don't worry.
Same line, right. And
Asra's like,
surprise.
oh my.
Will you?
Oh, you will? Wow, amazing. I just rolled really well.
How fortuitous.
Do you want to set things alight?
How about you make flames?
Make the flames. And then, of course, Asra in this case is gestures to have the apprentice go over to the fireplace. And is
the apprentice
carefully watching you, despite the fact that he's still not your teacher, but he's still acting like your damn teacher.
He is.
And you decide to just focus. You do the breathing, the eyelids come down, and then you just...
Pop. Yes. And voila. There is fire.
There is also, for the Arcana itself, there is some sparkle art, and that actually looks distinctly different in style, and I don't know how to explain that it looks very different.
I was going to say, Asra looks quite, like his primary facial features seem different there. Like, the shadows and the weight are different. I don't know how to explain. It looks like they were, either they were just having a different drawing day or something. It is really cute, though, because you can actually see, the porridge or whatever, just, dripping off a spoon.
Also, though, I will have to say, at least for me, I think Asra looks far more approachable and like an average rumpled person.
He looks less like, I am specifically just hot.
Yeah, like he's just a person, right? Hello. Which is really adorable. And so, but Asra does praise us, and he goes, aha! You have successfully leveled up all the way. You have completely filled out your skill, that part of your skill tree.
Flawless ignition. Flawless
victory.
And then, Asra...
And then he continues explaining, going, well, especially after last night, dang, that is not a surprise, actually. I betcha, especially after last night, So wow, the fire that you have done is nothing by comparison.
Yes, the previous fire that we made was so fabu that this one is just not even impressive comparatively.
It's a trash fire.
It is just like it is chopped liver.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, the apprentice observes that Asra is toasty. And
because he had the full body press, I guess.
As he just
I don't know how we got into this position or what position we're in, because honestly, that doesn't make... what did he do? Did he stand directly behind you, and then so as you're near the hearth setting the flame with your little snap of your fingers, are you squishing, is he squishing into your back?
So it describes that he is just relaxed against the apprentice and is just extremely pleased with what they've done. So what has happened here is the apprentice has gone to the place where you start the fire and relaxed themselves and started the fire, and then Asra has plopped himself against them. And I'm not sure, if it's we are just standing there in front of the fire with Asra just, just propped against us, but, he very toasty while that happens. And, he is so...
It's just, you can see the emotion of, happiness and joy and, good job in his eyeballs.
Positive thoughts, really positive thoughts.
And then he's like, Mo, I'm gonna go get the cow juice.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
He just
Though honestly, I would like to know if it's goat juice.
What if it's the creature juice?
I would like to know what that creature is. I feel like going this long without naming it is just a weird choice.
I also feel like it's really strange that Asra is this is a basically a familiar, comfortable thing that I know and I've seen many times and you've seen before, and it has no title or name. All the other animals have names. And this one does not have a name. The mount we came in on has no... I've been through the desert on a thing with no name.
Yeah, pretty
Felt
much.
good to get out of the
Anyway,
cave.
he's gonna go get the squirt juice from some sort of creature, I assume.
So then he runs his hands over the apprentices.
It's a goodbye gesture, basically.
Very gently, softly, as he moves away from where we are by the hearth and starts digging through his pack. And then he returns immediately. Now it's a very, very small house, so like he turns away from you and his pack is like right there, but he has to come back from his pack with
an
magic bottle of the moo juice, or of the white liquid.
Which actually, okay, so I'm
of the lactation liquid.
If they tell us that it's cold, I am going to make a face, because I know actually lots of cultures that go specifically warm is better than cold, especially
also,
depending on what you're doing.
So a lot of medieval cultures didn't store things in the cold.
Yeah, that would be like an extrapolation to make.
Well, let's find out.
Like, and it's not saying that, like, okay, so the interesting thing is that depending on where you were, as far as I understand, they had like ice treats, but they were really uncommon, obviously, because your trade wasn't, as successful as it could have been.
Anyway, so he has this entire time
cold
had a bottle from the milkman inside of his pack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he goes back to he begins cooking. It looks like.
Also, I have a stupid question. I wonder why. So, if you don't know. All y'all who have been having fun about us dropping in real life facts.
Yes.
There is a type of alcohol you can actually make using the stomach, basically, of a goat.
Okay.
With the like milk, right?
Okay.
So basically, like Mongol people have made basically a specific type of alcoholic milk, which is kind of cool. So not only can you make cheese because of the types of bacteria that are in stomachs. Right, so that's how they suspect that they basically made. That's how they figured out that they made cheese, and then also they were like, but then they also figured out how to make basically a type of alcoholic milk, which is actually really cool, and I really want to try it because I didn't know that.
I had no idea, so this is new to me too. And
I had to look it up. Remember though that one time? So I was talking to you about somebody who was talking about their characters and like they drunk milk and then they got super drunk, and I was like, what?
Wait, what? Yeah.
And that was that time, right?
That was that.
And I went and I looked it up, and it's actually a thing. And so I'm like, especially I'm actually kind of curious in this case because I'm like, if Asra is quote from a desert-ish kind of area, why would he want it to be cold anyway? Because you have the potential for cheese, and two, you also have the potential for your alcohol, basically.
So first of all, it never said that it was cold, so we can skip over that bit.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting though to see if it pops up, like, because we're still not done.
It looks like the milk has already been used. So there's a step between he comes back from his pack, and immediately it is described that
he's just already stuck the spoon in the spot, and it's just twirling around. Time
has passed, and we start narrating again when he is already mixing. And
we're just cuddled around him. That's it.
And it's like Kohai has just placed their head on like just looking over and watching what he's doing, just like against like the crook of his neck kind of thing. And is literally just, I'm wrapped around you from behind, just staring over at what you're doing.
Imagine if your apprentice was super fucking short or super tall compared to him.
So super tall, you would have to crouch down, which you can do. You can do the lean back sort of thing. But super short, it'd be hilarious. So if we had a really short apprentice here, this pose wouldn't work.
Immediately gets on top of a thing. Boy, I got a bucket, boy.
Wow. You had to bring a bucket over to get your chin up on like, the top of his arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in this case, Kohai is not super short, but I imagine there would be more of I'm going to just lean against the side of his face while he's working.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, there's definitely some hugging from behind.
Yes.
And
there's the mention that his hair causes the woo. That's my face.
The tinglies.
Especially as he actually looks back at us over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Even though like we're leaned up against like his face, he turn and look at us while like cheeks pressed together.
And then Asra, of course, in this case, is going like, hungry? Are you so hungry that your stomach is doing the growlies? Are you so hungry that you feel like you're going to die?
Are you famished? As with a famine?
And then, apparently, I'm assuming this particular sentence means, here, try this, basically.
Yeah, so it doesn't, so it sounds like, again, we just basically time-lapsed through any of the actual cooking and putting ingredients in, because none of that is mentioned.
Nope, not even
It's just mixing, and now, here, let me know what the flavor's like.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, try it.
Yes.
And then apparently it's also now immediately hot.
So we are in a hot desert.
So he goes,
and his body is really hot when we're touching him, and he's touching us. And the food is also hot.
Yeah, he on the food.
He goes,
and then he gestures it at us.
Hang on, we have to go back to a previous episode. He casts the cooling spell, which makes a little puff of air.
And the thing is you notice that the smell is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just,
you're like,
really...
Well, I drool.
Like, my mouth opens. Like, Kohai's mouth opens without them thinking about it. Just, and
then it goes, what the flavor will be like,
and we don't get any reaction from Kohai at first. What we get is Kohai has assumably the food in their face, not specified, and Asra inquires of their opinion.
How do you think it is?
Do you have a thought? And instead of us again reacting at all, like it's warm in my mouth, none of that, or the flavor is good, or none of that, or the texture is nice, there is zero reaction of any kind from Kohai, and now we are faced...
Well, either that or immediately we had our responses to go, whoa, it really needs
to make a
sweet thing, or it needs basically more complex flavor.
It needs to be stronger. So the thing is he goes, what do you think? And we go... We get an actual choice, like click in here of it should be sweeter or it should be hotter, as it were.
Spice is not always
It should
hotter,
be
though.
Savorier.
Savory. That's why I said more complex flavor.
Yeah, it should have more intensity. It should be less white girl food.
Yes.
Which, of course, is just, it's a cultural jab. But anyways, so Kohai is not super into, like Kohai's fine with sweet things, but, I feel like for a meal, Kohai's going to be more, savory, and going to be more not as sugared. And
and the thing is so, what I think is so interesting is going, wait a minute, you have refined sugars? You have cane sugar? Wasn't cane sugar specifically a thing from,
Well, and here's the question. It
Brazil?
Doesn't say what kind of sweetener, but it does say sugar. Is it beet sugar? Is it cane sugar? Are you calling honey a sugar?
Right.
What is the sugar?
What is sugar? What is azúcar?
I would just say, is it, in fact, cactus sugar? Because, again...
Or is it a candied fruits and you're adding that in as a, quote, sugar? What are we talking about? Are we talking about also adding in, so some people go, well, you have your sugars, but we ground it out of, something else.
Well, see, the thing is back in colonial America, the biggest sugar was beet sugar. You had sugar beets, and then you would process out of them the sugar, and then sell bags of beet sugar.
Yeah, I'm just
So I don't know, but we're not going to ask for sweet. We're going to ask for more intense. And so Kohai is just make it zesty, as it were.
And Asra compliments us, being ooh, that gung-ho. Says also then asks us if we wouldn't mind taking a mortar to pestle again, and then compliments us for doing it so magnificently.
And there's a possibility for a double entendre here.
Everything's doing so well.
Because he doesn't mention the mortar or the pestle or anything like that. He's just do you want to do an action that could be interpreted either as rubbing up against me or as crushing spice?
Yes.
You can come up with that on your own. And then just being you are just skilled at it. You are amazing at it.
Sweet and spice and
everything. So it could be taken cutely flirty, but it's not really set up to be that way based on his expressions.
Except that it is, because you blush.
Oh, then Kohai blushes.
Even though it's probably more you complimented me at how good I did it before, which I'm
So interestingly, Kohai blushes specifically on their throat. And then acquires the tools for grinding and the spice seeds.
Encasement.
Yeah, the encased seeds that are being proffered. And is
and notes that Asra is actually flirting.
Yes, in fact. So the
or
double
sort
meaning
of
was there.
making fun, or kind of just being he
trying to fluster you a bit.
Yeah, it also could be well, you did such a great job last time. Why don't you do it? You're you jerk.
Yes. Then Asra proceeds to try to cool with his breath more of the I guess porridge you could call it, or like
whatever it is.
The thing but it is boiling, and even though
that sounds like he's literally got his face in the pot, blowing on it, and then he's also sticking his tongue in the pot that is super hot and boiling to lick it up and look like a sexy fuck.
It really does sound like he basically leaned over the pan.
Does he have like fire resistance on his face? Because even I can't do that.
So like imagine this pot of just boiling porridge on the stove, like rice porridge or whatever, right? And he leans down over it into the steam, hair getting fluffy and curly, and he makes a gentle and then just proceeds to slurp and lick it out of the boiling pot with bubbles popping, and then turns his face sensuously at you like, hello.
Look at me.
Nom, nom, nom. I am making sexy faces as I eat boiling food. I would be like, I mean, you know what? Power move, bro. Big energy, you know?
Big dick energy, right?
Wow. I would not stick my face in a boiling pot.
Wow! And Asra encourages us to do the same.
Yes.
Him going, yes, whatever you've done, apparently, because, like, my assumption here is actually that we finished grinding almost immediately. And he's just like, it tastes so much better. You should now give it a good old licky-lick too. And you're like, dude, give me a spoon!
So give me a second here. Like, this whole scene is skipping over all of the doing of this activity.
Yes.
Like, there is so
much
So you start to, grind, like, you receive the spices to begin grinding them, and that's when he leans over the pot to make his sexy licky-lickies. But he has leaned over to taste it after the spices you're preparing now are already in, and telling you that it has been much improved by you standing over there holding the stuff that you're about to start grinding, and you should taste it again. And as you lean over, as Kohai just gently tips the mortar into it, stirs gently. So I should try it now? You think? Asra, who was not paying attention, was just flirting.
He's like, my whole face is burned. Yeah, okay.
His face incredibly flushed from the heat.
I should use a cooling spell on my face.
Asra, I don't think you're going to taste anything with the tip of your tongue for a long time.
Is your tongue okay? Oh my god, open your mouth.
Let me see your tongue. Are you alright?
Asra.
I appreciate that you were flirting, but
I
think I bent my tongue.
Yes. And then it goes on of going, apparently he got this from the spoon?
No.
He had to spoon. Oh no, he used a spoon for us. Yes. But for him, it was just all face in.
It was face in the pot. He's like, normally I'm a bachelor here, so face in the pot is fine for me.
Hell yeah! This is what bachelors do. Yes. But honestly, though, the thing is as much as he offers you the spoon, apparently your character goes, you know what, though? I have a plan, because I do a spy upon your chin. But you have missed a spot.
A food. I have noticed, as they do in the anime, that you have some food upon your face, and I plan to do something about it.
And blisters!
And I also plan to skip the proffered utensil full of food, and instead go for your face.
I'm just like, really, it's just, look at that food on his face, and the blisters that are starting to appear because
you put your face in boiling porridge!
Food!
Yes, boiling food, boiling rice food, boiling high starch food. Okay, so this is the thing. So starch increases the viscosity of water. And if you're not familiar with that fancy science word, basically the thickness of water. So if you are, I don't know if any of you have seen the thickened water meme where people have been giving thickened water to their dogs and stuff like that. Thickened water is basically an ability aid for people who cannot swallow and tend to aspirate when they drink. So you make it thicker. And the way they thicken it is with starch. And there's a ton of starch in rice. And the thing is if you put your face in there, the water won't just drip off. It will stick to you, and so it will keep burning you if you don't clean your face. So this made me really uncomfy. At any rate,
we decided
Kohai ignores the proffered utensil and goes over and slurps Asra's face solidly to remove any particles.
But in such a way, even though his face is already on fire, we can feel fire on our tongue.
We can
from
feel
his fire from blushing.
that he's toasty.
He's very toasty. And then also your character is going, oh my god, and his lippus, they're right there.
They're right there. We licked most of his face, but we didn't touch his lips. And now we're thinking about how close our tongue was to them as we just laved it all over him. Blah, 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 blah.
And then also, of course, like, it's basically we just slid into a very easy and very pleased and noisy kiss.
I was gonna say, there's this observation
As
that it would be
just
very, very
drags us
simple.
closer.
That it would be very simple for us to kiss. And he also seems to notice that it could be really simple and easy and a very tiny motion for us to kiss. And he makes the and then it just like gets
Like I said,
grabs
grab
hold of you
and pulls you close.
and gets real close.
Yeah, and you're just making out
And
aggressively.
then, while it hasn't said you've started doing the smooches, it says there are many smooches happening and they are affecting Kohai strongly by making Kohai really warm. So Asra's super warm, and the more Asra just smooches Kohai, the more warmth is just building on Kohai. Kohai is starting to sweat. Kohai is starting to turn red. Kohai's heat meter is just going doo-doo-doo. The little thermometer is just blah, 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 blah.
This is your temperature meter. It is unusually high for someone
And
of your
then,
size.
and then Kohai specifies that being this incredibly hot is just preferable, the appropriate thing. Yes, please.
Yes, this is what I wanted!
Kohai sweating profusely, the amazing amounts of boob sweat that you get when you have huge breasts. And Kohai being like, perfect, I love this. This is what we're talking about.
And Asra, in the middle of nom nom nom, is like, what do you think,
Mwah.
baby? Pulls out a cigarette.
There is a question.
Was it good for you?
Is it currently of high quality? So Asra inquires at the quality of the smooching experience.
So I imagine this is going to be about the food. Like, romantic trope-wise, because he's also being a flirt.
I think he's asking about both, but he's not specifying which.
Well, like I said, because he's being a flirt, it's going to end up being about the food.
But he definitely blushing here, so there we go.
Yeah.
And there's
Apparently you still have food on your face?
I was gonna say there's a suggestion that somehow Kohai got
What have
food.
you been doing? Smearing porridge over each other's face. Come here. Yes, let me just spit it back up.
It's gently it's like he had a mud mask on, and we just started rubbing our face into it and licking bits of it off. So there is this implication very strongly here that there is food on Kohai's mouth that they do lick off and then comment on the flavor of with a gesture of their head being like, positive.
Except that also this licking off actually has caused Astra to be like, ooh.
Oh boy. And also not only to like get excited like, oh, that's amazing, that's hot, but really like, oh, I have an idea to pull some shit.
Oh, I'm gonna be a jokester.
I'm
gonna be a little shit.
And so
and he's like, excellent! It's time to be done then editing the food in the food maker.
He really is. He's like, well, if you give it your seal of approval, let's completely ignore it now.
Oh my god, what?
Okay, so apparently Asra is sitting.
No, also though, apparently he has become Captain Planet.
Yes.
Or He-Man.
But yeah. It's Captain Planet.
It's Captain
Planet. So
Planet.
that's the start of the Captain Planet catchphrase.
So we have arm being introduced here, and waist, and lap.
Mm-hmm. Do not use too many of the words.
No, I just try to figure out what powers combine.
Well, porridge, fire, smooches. With these powers combined, I am Captain Asra. Yes. Okay, so it indicates that Asra very strong, even with only one of his upper appendages, and is able to acquire all of Kohai and put them in his lap. Because while you're doing this whole
Put him on his put Kohai on their legs.
yes, put Kohai
On his legs.
on top of him while he's in a seated position. And the thing is like,
And apparently the other basically.
I didn't know he was sitting.
I didn't know he was sitting
Because
either.
last time we talked to him, he was standing. He was standing in front of the stove and cooking.
You mean last time we were licking and smearing food all over his face?
When we were sucking face and food, he was standing as far as we knew.
We were fooding on his face.
Now he is sitting, and he directs us into a particular posture, which ends with, basically our face tilted back, upward, assumably towards him.
His.
Implying again, the other hand coming to, no, there's not an angle, sorry, I was just getting overexcited. Anyway, so he just puts his hand in our hair to place our head where he would like it to be.
Looking probably at him.
Potentially, but he doesn't say. And then...
I'm assuming, based on the fact that this sprite is suddenly blushing like fucking crazy, again, we're fucking in the kitchen, just so you guys know. I'm pretty sure at this rate there's grinding and there's boning in this kitchen, because there's so much skipping and there's so much blushing going on.
So there was this description of basically pulling the apprentice on top of him in seated position, and then using his arms to position them in a way he wants, and then immediately the next line is him going, wait!
The food!
The food!
Surprisingly, it continued to boil! And
now it is exceeding the containment of the pot because it is so much boil.
Yeah, this is kitchen boning.
So,
I don't know what is it.
I was just saying, but we've skipped so many steps in making the food, so many steps in telling where people are, so many steps in Kohai even reacting to things and or describing Asra. Like this feels like a montage. It just jumps from thing to thing to thing.
That's why I'm saying this feels like a bone scene. We didn't want to write it.
I was saying, it doesn't even say he looks away from us at all. It's just suddenly time has passed.
Him going,
oh no, the stove.
The food. Oh God.
And apparently we had been kissing.
Aggressively fucking making out. Yep. And also you're panting from the exertion of how much you guys have been sucking face off.
Or doing whatever in his lap.
Yep.
So the thing is the very next line after the goodness, there's still food heating on the stove.
This is like, okay, as I have to say,
so Asra has said this line apparently into your face because he's having trouble removing his face from yours.
No, okay, so do you know what's killing me?
Huh.
This is hornier than Julian's route.
It is, actually.
And I don't know how to explain it. Like, Julian definitely is, like, horny, but he really, it was very specifically, and then it just, says that you guys are abruptly done.
Yes.
It just stops. I will say, that, but, you are full-on fucking making out with Astra.
Yeah, this is really a lot more intense than
this
a lot
is a lot more heavy petting and everything else, whoa.
It's not all there, but there's a lot more grabbing and holding and pushing you against all of him in all ways and getting your hips together at many times and points.
And then there's also, a lot of weird skipping that to me just reads as, oh shit, this got too explicit.
So we just skipped on what happened there, and then it does in fact describe that as he wrenches his face away from Kohai's, Kohai is, just panting and just unable to control and calm themselves as he works to deal with the fire.
Yeah. That is
apparently what happened was when Kohai got really, really excited, the fire just went foosh, and the food went.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's what was happened.
Yeah, and then so apparently now that he has tended to the flames, the pot has calmed down.
It's chilled out.
It's chilled the fuck out.
Yeah, but it's more a simmer now.
Yeah, he's actually either there or he's taking it off completely off the flame, which I think is interesting because so you're gonna have to. So one thing. I want to know what kind of a fire this is.
Magic blue fire.
Just a magic blue fire.
It's a little magic fire.
Is it the hook over the fire? Is it said that it was specifically a hearth cook fire? Are we talking about?
They also have said stove, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, I think.
So there's a surface over the fire.
So it's like an adobe one? It's like one of those ovens which you...
Or it could be metal, it's not specified.
It seems more like it should be clay.
Could be a clay oven kind of thing, and you can cook on top of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't describe this thing at all. At any rate, it stops being really aggressive and chills out. And then Asra had
hang on. I have to go for one more round.
I was gonna say Asra had completely removed contact with us in all ways, even though it hadn't specified. And so now he just gets a hold of Kohai again. And just profoundly smooches.
One strong, final, smooch that that is compared to, in this case, the fire. basically, and the food cooking.
The food, yeah.
Because of the way that it's done. And then, like, your character's just like, oh my god.
I've thought about this forever.
God, this is perfection. This is all I have ever wanted.
The interesting thing is this is the first time the character, Kohai, that I am aware of, is specifying that they have had basically specifically physical romantic designs on Asra. Because this is a thing they have spent a lot of time thinking about and basically longing for in this sentence.
That's true.
So Kohai has been physically into Asra forever and has never gotten to go anywhere with it. Going, I have imagined us sucking face so hard for so long. Ah!
Me, vaguely, also going, yeah, but you already did that in the cave.
Yeah, but I imagined it in a house because that's where we've been most of the time of my life. And I imagined it by
while
food.
cooking near a louse.
With a tiny hiding mouse. With a person who is not yet your spouse. And then, Kohai expresses that if they had knowledge that this kind of experience physically and emotionally could happen with the two of them, that how
did they miss it? That's just like, holy
maybe it had always been like this and they'd never noticed.
Which sounds dumb.
So the language is really weird, just reading the sentence, but basically what I'm getting is Kohai is going, if this is so good and intense, this is probably not new. It's probably been there for a deal of time, and it's just coming to the surface or just being like reconciled now, if you will.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Also, I'm sorry, it just sounds like you're boning.
I'm
like...
The level of, I have put you in my lap and started kissing you, and I am panting, and I cannot catch my breath, and overheated, and overwhelmed, and shivering and shaking. This sounds like more than just kissing.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Like, the subtext is a text.
It's a lot.
Oh, hey, it's the end of the scene!
Hey, wee! And you know what we have?
After all of that, the mismatched bowls Asra serves give off fragrant steam in the sunlight. It didn't tell you that we went outside, but we did go outside. And now we get to look at the art.
No!
It's so cute.
Oh God, it's adorable.
I love that. So this is us seeing the premium art that you've just seen for the whole 30 minutes for the first time, and it's real cute. Super cute.
Oh, Draconisha, that looks so adorable.
It is.
Ah!
Honestly, I like it better than the premium one.
Yeah, I kind of do too. That's super
good.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's so adorable. Wow.
Freaking love it.
I love it too.
Okay, anyway,
but yeah.
So we have gone outside, and I skipped that part too because I am so overwhelmed that I've skipped the lot.
You've skipped down the stairs. Is probably
for the sake of narration, I have wobbled my way quietly out here, and I'm going to just sit.
Wobble count.
And then Asra is serving some food because he got it out of the pot and into bowls.
How are you so coordinated?
And we are outside, and there is sunlight, and we will find out if I am able to eat this food in the next one.
No, I really do have to say, okay, like, am I crazy? I swear to God, I remember reading books where, like, the way that they would get around writing the sex scene would be to skip. So, like, suddenly you would just kind of shift, and then there would be this thing, and everybody knew what was going on, but it wasn't super explicit. I'm like, that is a romantic convention without being super explicit romance. I'm like, that is a boning convention.
So what I was going to say is, I'm familiar with that as well, where there's a book that's written, and it wants to be for, like, a middle range audience, but it definitely wants to let you know, if you're in the know, that the characters are having sex.
Right.
And it really will just skip to different parts of the scene and focus on little things, like, you know, now they're caressing, now they're kissing, now they're laying together, now, you know, they're pulling away, that kind of thing. And this scene felt very, very like that. So my friend jumping to their boning, well, it startled me a little bit because I'm a little more conservative romantically, if you will, or sexually. It was like, it's not unreasonable to jump to that conclusion at all, based on this being a literary trope of basically soft censorship where you can fill in the details.
Like, I am very used to, like, people sort of sporadically jumping around in a scene like that in order to preserve, basically, like, the eroticism, but also, like, not get too, because otherwise the rating would go too high.
Yeah, but also preserve the rating of the book. And I was going to say, and so it really was, like, the subtext, just like in the cave, is strongly there of going, the reason you're so just amazingly overwhelmed and just having such an incredible physiological response and panting like you've been running is not just kissing.
No.
Anyway, and I'm not offended at all. Like, they can be totally involved.
I'm like, that's great.
I just think it's
shocked.
amazing how explicit it is and how immediate it is compared to, like, the other two routes we played.
And I really do have to say, like, this is way more explicit than Julian's ever was. Julian's was just annoying, because I was always like, yeah, and then they make out, and I was like, no, that's not... Wait, what?
No,
you
they
didn't
stopped
make
for
out? You
reasons.
just abruptly stop? Like, it was suddenly like they were like, oh god, we can't get away with this anymore.
So Julian's route felt very much like he was all horny all the time, and then occasionally you guys would, like, meet on the same plane of interest, and or there would be a fortuitous moment, and then he would be like, I'm super freaking into this, and then it would just stop for reasons.
Yeah, and that was really weird.
And we've had a couple of people sort of be like, well, yeah, because, you know, it would have to stop because you're not that involved yet. And it's like, no. He seems like he's all in.
Yeah, especially if he's going to tell us when we had no conversations about it at all after like 2 days going, we can no longer be deeply involved. Like, that's fucking hilarious.
The interesting thing that I find in this route specifically here, and hang with me for a moment, thank you, is that Asra seems to be resistant a little bit to his attraction to you. Like, there's a level of, but we have this sort of, like, power dynamic where I've kind of been your parent and your teacher and your caretaker, even though that's not what I've been your entire existence, even if it's what I've been in this life.
Right.
And I'm really interested in you, but I also am tentative about it because we have very different experience levels.
Right.
And yet, at the same time, Kohai, in their inexperience, is unable to perceive, and he is not willing to share the fact that it might be sort of earth-shattering to suddenly just be like, I am profoundly sexually involved with this person that I have never been involved with before, or at least not in this life.
Yes.
And I feel like the only reason we're not getting more of that is because Kohai can't perceive the enormity of his reaction, which I only assume is there based on the level of interest in the prologue and level of conflict he's asserted he's having.
Yes. There's also that fact, though, too, that I think is really interesting in that way of, in order, I feel like, for Asra to sort of get around that, him actually isolating your character makes way more sense, because he goes, I don't want anybody to go, hey, so are you guys boning? And
Or
you
to
go, wait,
judge
what?
this,
or to judge, or
make
question,
statements, or define it.
And going, if I keep you away from other people's ideas, you won't really realize what's going on.
Or I can explore this privately because I'm a private person.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's deliberately trying to keep the apprentice naive.
I mean, based on what the fuck he was doing with manipulating Julian and the way that Asra is much basically crueler than I ever imagined he would be.
I did not picture him doing half of the shit I've already seen him do, and we're not even that far in.
Yeah, we're really not.
But on the other hand, you don't really know a character until you spend a bunch of time with him. But the impression I've gotten about him was always just like, Asra is sweetie. He is just, honey, he is so soft and romantic. His root is just all cuddles and sparkles and hearts, and it's way less intense than a lot of the other ones. Like, that's the impression that I got from people.
No, I get you. And now I'm like,
whoa.
I do not agree. Anyway, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and rate the video, please. It actually does help us in regards to the YouTube algorithm. Even just hitting the like button does a lot. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch.
Yes.
There are links in the description. We would love to see you there. Yep. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!